Always in search of awesome. Always in search of awesome sauce and secret sauce. And tonight is no different. I'm calling Molly Getz and Kyleen Garcia, the behind the chair. First of all, the behind the chair hair Jedis. If you follow them on their platforms, it's just amazing. And they launched last year a podcast, Detangled, and they invited me to be on it, or did I? I can't remember if they invited me or if I guilted Molly into inviting me on. And I just had the time of my life. It was probably no, it was the best podcast experience I've ever had. And so they're here tonight to share their story and that. And I'm going to see if I can get them talking a little bit about anything cool they're doing behind the chair. Molly she's on a little bit of I call it a sabbatical with child number 2. So she's on the back end of that. At any rate, if you don't follow them. Make sure that you're following. It's called @Detangled Podcast, and listen to the podcast. It was just really, really cool. I don't want to steal too much of their thunder, and for sure, you're going to want to hang out with Molly on Instagram @MollyGetz. Her work is extraordinary. She does really cool tutorials. A lot of them are on herself. And when you see it's almost like it's an edutainment experience, at least for me, when I go there. And then make sure that while you're at it, Kyleen Garcia, her, same handle, Detangled Podcast, but she's got a presence on Instagram, Kyleen.Garcia. I love her work. And then, no, wait, there's more. She's doing some really cool stuff on TikTok. As a matter of fact, I've already guilted her into coming back to do a single interview. But look at her on TikTok, just under 20,000 on a community, and just under 1 million likes. So she's up to something cool on TikTok, and we'll save that for when we bring them back. So they're in my green room now. I'm going to go get them, and I'm going to get them talking about Detangled, and we'll see where it's going. So. Stay tuned. I'm going to unmute. I'm going to go get my homies. They're in the back. I'm going to unmute them. And you guys are going to make them feel welcome, yeah?
Hi.
How are ya?
Good.
Well, thanks for coming. And Molly, I know that your day at, being, you got 2 to the second power now with 2 little kitty cats. And Kyleen, you've been in the salon crushing it all day and, had to walk through what you walked through. So thanks for coming and hanging out with us for a few minutes tonight.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, you just had the time of my life. It was just a very inspiring experience when I was on your new Detangled podcast. What is it, a couple months ago? I lose track. But I'm assuming that a lot of people that are watching tonight haven't had the experience that I've had yet. They're going to, trust me, after tonight. But I want you to talk about your podcast, Detangled, and what inspired it, because it's still relatively new. You launched it like in August of last year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kyleen and I are both Redken artists, and, before COVID, we were on the road every single week driving to classes to teach. And we have found this friendship over the past couple years. We would talk to each other going to and from pretty much every class over Marco Polo. So, that app, you can save your videos, and we would listen to them when we had a chance. And we would always just have like the funniest conversations. And, sometimes they're very insightful and sometimes they're just for pure entertainment. And it kind of came up that we're like, we are really funny and we have really entertaining conversations. So we should take this platform to a podcast. And then lo and behold, our world got rocked just like everyone else's last year. And all of our classes got canceled. And we were like, what are we going to do now? Like, we felt very, very kind of stuck with, we needed to feel like the energy to still share education in the hair industry and to still connect with each other. So we were like, okay, it's now or never. We have to do something about this podcast. And so that's how the little podcast baby was born, was out of just the need to fuel our passion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Kyleen, yeah, and you're the like just when I came on, I could tell right away that you're like me. You're in addition to being, a host, you also handle all of the IT, the Wi-Fi, the what was that like? Like, were you into that before Detangled, or is that one of those learning as you're going?
I mean, I definitely feel like I'm fairly tech savvy, but it has definitely been a like learning as I go process. Googling a lot of how to use this thing and watching YouTube videos, but it's been a really fun learning process, and I really actually enjoy. I found out that I enjoy the editing process. So,
Well, in the number of podcasts that you've done, what do you know now about the experience, the production? Because I have compassion and empathy for anyone that's gutsy enough to go through the learning curve. It's a heck of a learning curve. I mean, we talk about that frequently. That I've been in it just a little while longer than you two, but we know that it's like a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. What's it like?
you go ahead, Molly.
For me, I've always thought of myself as being like really tech savvy, and then I start hanging out with Kyleen, and she's like, listen, like if we're going to do this, we have to do it the right way and like the best way. So I'm like, okay, you take the reins, you just tell me where I need to be, when I need to be there. And I mean, I think she's done an amazing job with learning how to navigate this entirely brand new world to us. So
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about the experience that you're having as you're bringing guests on your podcast, and the type of conversations you're engaging your guests in, and what you're learning about the conversations on the back end that's kind of surprising to you. Kyleen, can you first of all relate to what I'm asking?
Yeah, totally. I think like from the very beginning, something that Molly and I planned when we have guests on is that we want whatever our topic is that we're talking about, we want to bring a guest on that can just help us educate the listener rather than it being like an interviewing show, because we really don't want to waste our listeners' time just hearing somebody's story. We want them to be able to jump on, listen to something, get some information that they can apply and go use it in the salon. But then, like, with that being said, it's interesting because, Molly and I, one thing that we have learned along the way is we have to have a plan with our episode. Otherwise we get on and we just end up talking about nonsense. And so we might have a plan for the episode, but then our whatever guests we have on, just the knowledge that they bring, we had no idea what they were going to say. So it's really cool to see how it just kind of transforms into something that maybe we didn't even plan.
Yeah, I can identify. The overwhelming majority of the times, we craft an agenda. You've got some intentions, and then these things that you can't predict happen in real time, and they're just like a gush of delight, surprise, inspiration, insight. And it happens so quickly on the back end. It's like, wow, what just happened there? I didn't, whatever it is I thought was going to happen is so much more. Molly, what kinds of subject matter and topics do you engage your guests on Detangled?
Well, so far we've covered some business education. We've covered some social media. We really want to hit on, like Kyleen said, like salon applicable topics, even things to like some like sciencey things, because we're both hairstylists. We love science. We love, the art of what we do. So, thinking about the things that we would be sharing in a live salon class and taking it to this platform. But then also, because we are real humans styling, there's a lot of emotion that goes into what we do too. So we definitely focus on some emotional things as well. So some of the topics that we talk about might be about, how to deal with some of those like more tumultuous type of things that happen to us as well. But, like Kyleen said, it's always with the idea that we want to leave the listeners with something that they can grow from as well, not just listening to us ramble on about, you know, what we've got going on. Because I think the coolest thing about us is we are very relatable people. We're very, you know, we are Midwestern hairstylists that have a very normal clientele. Like, we're doing all the things that a lot of our listeners are going through on a daily basis. So I'm trying to think about the things that are happening to us on a day-to-day basis and making an episode about that. And also just knowing we don't have all the answers. So, you know, we like to learn from each other and from our guests that we bring on as much as possible.
Yeah. My experience on your program was it's organic, and yet there's a creativity that comes out that's surprising. That there's an energy that you set the intention and you hope for it, and when lightning strikes. What I'm curious about is, Kyleen, is have you ever had the experience where you're engaging somebody in a conversation, and out of that conversation there's an idea that comes out, you know, either through or from them, and all of a sudden you're going, whoa, not only is that a great idea, I don't want to say I'm going to steal that idea, but that's you know, I want to keep that one in my pocket. I can see that, boy, that's one more silver bullet in my, you know, my holster for whether it's my life behind the chair, my life as a salon owner, my life when my life gets lifey. Do you ever have those experiences? And if so, can you off the top of your head, because we didn't rehearse tonight, come up with a situation, an example when that's happened?
Yeah, we had Blake Reed Evans on for social media, and there was definitely some stuff that I was just picking up from him and learning from him that I was like, okay, I'll take that. And some of it just helping to coach my team as well, because I would say my social media is fairly built up to the point of what I want to do with it for the clientele that I'm trying to build. But sometimes I get stumped on actually coaching my team with their social media. So there was a lot that I got from him that I was taking for coaching.
Yeah. Well, I know, first of all, I love Blake. You know, I've had him on a couple of times, and he's been on at a couple of summit retreats. So for the viewer, she's not lying. At any time Blake's in front of me and he's teaching from the room or whatever, I've got my notepad out and I'm taking lots of notes. And you know, you guys know me. I'll say to you all the time, listen, I'm not going to steal this from you. I'm going to give you credit the first time or two I use it, and then I'm going to kind of like forget where I got it from, and I'm going to use it. But it's all in good jest. And Blake is one of those people. He's just, as you know, an obsessive compulsive learner. So who knows what he's picking up day to day. Molly, what about you? Any times where that's happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, I even get so much just from our conversations just between Kyleen and I. She'll say something that it makes me think just outside of my own box, which is really great. So every time we've had a guest on, you know, I'm only have the thoughts that are in my head. And when someone says something that makes me really think and like almost challenges my belief system, it's like, you know, the light bulbs are going off, or you have one of your famous Michael blinding flash of the obvious moments where I'm like, I can't believe I didn't think about it that way before. So, I mean, to think of a specific situation, and there's been so many so far that, and I'm a very expressive person. So you even probably hear it in my voice when you're listening to podcasts where I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, I mean, like right now in real time between the three of us, we're kind of geeking out about our craft, because we you know, in this part of our life, we're in the same thing. And I just, you know, I wasn't in this part of it before. I was just kind of like an educator. This is, you know, 2015, where you're just kind of putting out content. And now I'm like you bring in people, you engage in a conversation, and you get content from not only them, but the learning that we have from them. And so people continue to say, whoa, you just keep leveling up, or, you know, you keep getting reinvented. And I go, yeah, because it's all about this. When you bring people in that are Jedis in real time, there's something profound about that. Kyleen, can you relate to that?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I like what Molly was just saying just now about like what we get from each other when we're talking. I said, we taught a class together a while back that, we said, we only know what we know inside our own salon bubbles. So being able to speak with other people like this, it's all inspiring and helps us reinvent ourselves.
So you two, in an era before this, which is still present, except COVID kind of threw it off, that you two as educators, there'd be a lot of times where you would be educating together in real time. Am I getting that right?
Well, actually, it was in COVID time. We taught together. We hosted our own class.
Oh, but was this prior to Detangled, or is this in the Detangled arena?
It was in addition to, yeah, at the same time, kind of this past. Yeah.
So you two would come together online like a Zoominar, and you two would be the educators, and you'd have a host of people, session, and then out of that came the inspiration for this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Molly.
Well, we first met actually. We met when we first became Redken artists, but we got to work together at a couple. I think they were like a Redken specialist program, and then maybe a hair color authority or something like that. So we got the chance to work together, supporting those programs, and we really clicked then. And then moving into COVID times, we got to the point where we started the podcast, and we really felt like we could provide a really safe learning environment to relaunch hands-on learning again for the state of Ohio. I'm up by Toledo, and Kyleen's down by Columbus. And when salons were starting to reopen, and, people were really wanting hands-on education again, but it just wasn't happening in our world yet. So we decided that let's do something that we can provide a really safe environment, limit our class size, but we created our own little, not little, but our own education brand per se, that we did 2 classes this fall together. So
how did you market that? Like how did you get mindfulness out in the world that you were offering that, so that when you put it on, you had people in a Zoom room class?
We just blew it up on our social media as much as we possibly could. So since we already had our podcast platform, we used that. We put an ad in our episodes for the class. We used our own social medias for it. So
I love this. This is rich, because I follow both of you on all of your platforms, and your content is such that people, I go there, other people go there because they're looking for, latest, greatest content that gets them unstuck. And so you're saying, when you two had the inspiration of really doing something together online, once you kind of put your idea, you really went back to your platforms, your communities, and basically said, in a lot of different ways, that we're doing this, and people showed up for those Zoominars.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's interesting because on my dashboard, I'm keeping an eye on it, and there's educators Julie Molina, who's one of your shareholder partners at Zoto, and Rihanna Reed, who's a Redken artist as well. They're like sending you lots of love because they can identify with the conversation. We're geeking out around education.
I love it.
So where do you, as you look out, you're on a great start. Where do you see this thing going 2021 and beyond? It's like it's a work in progress, but do you got a sense as to what's next?
Yeah, so our biggest goal is to just make sure we are providing education for people. We just love helping others grow. And so our goal is to just get as much content out as we can for people. So we've talked about a couple different ways to just kind of grow the podcast, and then also just having more content available that we have to give out to the world.
Right. And so that I'm not pretentious, when people come, they can attend the podcast or listen to it. I think was ours pre-recorded. I can't remember if we went live or we pre-recorded.
It was pre-recorded.
Yeah, and then you put it out on where are the platforms that people go to listen to it?
It's available pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google.
Yeah, or they'll go to your platform, see the link, and log on to something. And is the content streamed, or do they download the content? I think it's streamed.
You can do either one.
Yeah. Oh wow! And what's the deal on this? Is it compliments? Is there a subscription, or like how's that work?
Yeah,
it's all complimentary.
Yeah,
we're giving it away.
Right. Well, I call it's compliments you because your love and your passion for it is such that you put it out. And I've chatted with a number of people that show up and look forward to your podcast, and it's a real cool thing. So it's something that can be added to someone's to-do list for education. Well, the last question I want to ask you is really, are you doing anything as of late behind the chair when you put on your hairdresser, hair Jedi hat, whether it's something technically, Molly, I know that you do a lot of video and a lot of photography stuff, and or, you're using your social media platforms to advocate and raise momentum for Detangled. Do you got any latest, greatest how-tos on how you're using your social media platform to leverage your own business behind the chair? And any secret sauces you want to share?
Well,
do you want to go first, Molly?
Sure. I right now, I'm not working because I just had a baby a couple weeks ago, but my game plan for getting back into work, I definitely have seen a lot of growth using the newest Instagram feature. So using Reels on Instagram. And so just kind of like really thinking about where I want to take my social media content moving forward, because with taking a break from work comes the need to do a little bit of rebuilding back at the salon. So I'm expecting to have a little bit of client loss when I come back. So I'm trying to get the train rolling into the station a little sooner than the day I walk back in to start taking clients again. So that's kind of like on my radar. And then, I love heading up our education department in the salon. So I've got some really great things lined up for our SOTO team for the year, and really thinking about elevating our associate program as well. So that's what's on my heart right now. And so I'm enjoying my time off, but I'm really excited to get back into the salon with my people.
Yeah, you two were kind of while we were waiting for our time to come. I heard you two kind of in the background geeking out around associate program. So it sounds like you've got some new aspirations about how you want to leverage that in 2021 in the salon.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with Reels. I'm very new at that now. I'm actually working with a coach to mentor me through those platforms and taking my, even what I used to call a 5-minute or 10-minute micro-learning tutorial on IGTV. She is working with me now to stream that down to 30 seconds. And doing some features, whether it's on Reels or TikTok, so that people can learn even quicker. So it's really, it's my next as well, so I can identify. Kyleen, what about you? What's what are you cooking? What do you got cooking behind the chair or on social that you want to share?
So one thing I've just been thinking about, and like Molly just ended her thing by saying like that's what's like on her heart, and that's like I was like, oh, I get that, because what has been on my heart lately, and this has to do with like social media and just who we are as stylists. I've been thinking a lot about like if my clients were to tell their friends about me, what would they say? And whatever they say is what I want to market about myself in social media. And what I've been thinking about for myself personally is to just go above and beyond to be someone's like beauty expert and to be able to give them advice for what I think they should do on their hair, rather than just letting them tell me what they think they want for their hair. Because I think if someone were to go to Kyleen, they would say, go to Kyleen because she always tells me what would be good on me, and like just going above and beyond to really be the person that is giving them beauty advice, because that's what we are to them.
Yeah, and it sounds like, I want to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth. By the way, the last 2 or 3 minutes has been very inspiring for me. So what Kyleen is saying is, whatever experiences I'm doing on social, that I'm using social in that way, whereby I can put ideas on the table, whether it's on my platform or real time when my guests are in the chair, so that whatever they bring in with the intentions, visions, ideas, you come now with, okay, let me throw something into the mix, and they're blown away by what you're bringing to the mix. And they're talking about that, and now that's really kind of the nitroglycerin around your referral, what's driving your referral.
Yes, absolutely.
The other thing I wanted, as I'm listening to you two, really chat, if you don't love what you're doing on social or a podcast or wherever you are, if you don't love what you're doing, and the real biggie, we don't love the people that we're doing it for, none of this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, we now, as we learn to use the platforms, we really do have our own media company. If you took the word social out of it, and you really learn how to use this, we have our own companies where we can get to a community and help them and share them. I mean, that's been, my experience of it, and it forces us to get better, because if you use Reels, you can't be screwing around. You have to, you got about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and it takes, so you can't be ranting. And so that when we do, in real time, all of a sudden we find that showing up where we're getting way more traction on our action, or at least that's what I'm finding.
Totally.
Well, you even got a couple of other people that joined in that is saying hi to you guys. Sabrina Hanley is on, and she's just saying, and I know that she's in your tribe, so people are sending you love.
Love that.
All right, listen, I want to let you get back to your family, Molly. I'm sure the kids are probably driving your hubby crazy, so you got to get back. And Kyleen, I know you're hungry. You've been behind the chair every today, crammed and jammed, so you want to get some food in your stomach and get off. So I'm going to let you both go, and promise me you'll come back for an encore as things continue to evolve for you on Detangled podcast.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to do a shameless plug. Go to Detangled on Instagram, and or their platforms on Instagram as well. It'll give you the links. Listen to the podcast and blow it up behind the chair. So give it up for my buddies one more time. Molly,
thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
All right. One more time, you guys. Whoop. Here we go. I just love the conversation. I brought him on. It was a little bit self-serving because I don't get an opportunity to geek out with my peers and colleagues about our discipline. So they're now in kind of the same business that I've been in, and that is, using a social media platform, but it's not for social media. It's to learn the media business, and it's learn how to put content on a digital media and bring it to the people that you love. So it's bringing content we love to the people we love, and it just was really cool the last 20 minutes to just geek out with both of them. So again, it's Detangled Podcast. And to find where it's at, they go to Instagram at Detangled Podcast. You'll see all the links to where you can go to the podcast platforms and listen to them. They're all recorded. They're all stored. Molly, I would really suggest you hang out with Molly on Instagram because she's just really doing some cool stuff in the way of tutorials. And I'm inspired by Kyleen as well. Same handle on Instagram at Kyleen Garcia on both Instagram and TikTok. And I got Kyleen to promise me before the podcast that I want her to come on with me for 15-20 minutes and have an exclusive conversation about Instagram and Reels. It's the next leap for those of us that are learning to use social media to really build a community online, and from that community build a clientele. And so I can really identify with her. I love her energy and what she's doing. So great night tonight. It's always a pleasure to bring stuff to you. All of our stuff is powered by L'Oreal Professional Product Division. I'm wearing my Salon Emotion. I'm doing a lot of work with and for the Salon Emotion community on both their all of their platforms on digital. So if you like the experience, thank them by supporting their brands. That to the degree that you use their brands and their brands are what you recommend to the people you serve, that's a beautiful deal. So shameless plug for my our website MC Tattoo. So we continue to build icons on there. If you like it, all of the proceeds go to two nonprofits that touch my soul. Literacy for children and people that are recovering from addiction. So it's good for the soul. We've got a brand new, really excited about this one. SummitSalon365.com is really, it's unlike the content that we put on Facebook, what we put on Instagram, we put on YouTube. This is really on a website. It is what I call production valued content, meaning we put an enormous amount of thought in planning for what we want to shoot on video. We shoot it, we edit it. So, using kind of video geek speak, enormous production value in this content. And this content, the experience is more of a course. So you enroll, in a course, and it's a ride. And I've got a massive body of knowledge that I haven't put on any of the my other platforms that I put an extraordinary amount of thought into, called wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness. It's transformational content. And so this is where you go to hang out with this. Now, this is a subscription site. So there's an annual subscription. You can pay it monthly. It's a few dollars a month. And it's called SummitSalon365.com. Keep an eye on this because it's where I think the best of the best, and it's almost like it's an experience unlike a Facebook Live that you're having, or even when you hang out on IGTV or YouTube or what have you. So have a good ride when you're there. Tonight's interview, what I always do is cook them down into about a 10-minute micro learning, and then they're placed on my Michael Cole Summit IGTV platform, and then we'll take probably 30-second, 40-second bites and put them on my Reels platform, which is relatively new for me. And depending, some of that content shows up on my presence on Instagram. So I hope that you'll take me up on the offer. Anytime you're Googling or keying in Michael Cole Summit, you're going to find where I live on the internet. And especially since COVID, I just, when we're on the back end of COVID, I think henceforth me being out into the world in real time is going to be supreme exceptions to the rule. I just absolutely love what I'm able to do online now with these platforms, as well as Summit Salon Business Center we're probably at about 2/3 of the services that we're render and the content that we're putting out is happening online training through Zoominar. So call us on our 800 number, and one of our coaches would be more than happy to do a 30-minute, we'll call it Zoominar, virtual consultation about all the many ways that we are showing up and serving the Summit Salon community using online training. If you're on any of our private communities, Summit Salon, Salon community on Facebook, you're going to find that on a daily basis, people are putting, here's the next tutorial, here's the next social media boot camp. I think they're just launching something for spa service providers. Emily is doing that as well, and I think one of her other buddies are happening for her as well. So stay on that. It's a big deal. All right. Great show tonight. It's wonderful to have you. We've got another program, and I just did that, my fourth interview this morning, interview number 4, In Search of the Behind the Chair Millionaire. It was our 4th episode. We've started a new conversation about not only is it possible, but it's probable through, if you have your act together behind the chair, over time, you can not only build financial security, but a 7-figure net worth. And 7 means as in million, as in millionaire. We talk about the 4-rule millionaire mindset. Every week we have a guest on. This morning I had my 4th episode, and if you need to watch that, especially if you're a salon owner, there's a program called Salon Save, where over time you can have money taken off of the receipt, the credit card sales that you make, and in addition to the 1 or 2% that you pay on that, you can allocate 2, 3, 4%, and over time it goes into an account that you own. And it's interesting. One of the stats is there's 10,000 salons that are plugged into Payrock's Salon Save program. 371 of them are taking advantage of Salon Save. So you do that, that's not even 4%. However, the 371 that are saving money, having money taken out for their own wealth building, retirement, exit strategy, whatever you call it, $47 million that's accumulated to. 6 of those 371 salon owners are now millionaires. They've saved over $1 million through a few points a day of their sales going into a long-term savings. And you can see the stats on this. So if you haven't watched that, it's right below this post on my page. So please watch it. I'm actually trying to boost it, and something Facebook isn't cooperating, because I want to bring it out to as many people on my community as I can. So good to hang out with you guys tonight. Have some more dinner, get some rest. Busy day tomorrow, and love you all, and see you next.